For her, I think living water is it could be a couple things. I think living water could be hope. I don't know, you go back in scripture and you kind of look for this phraseology, living water, and there are times when passages kind of, you can put some words together and say, oh, maybe that's what living water is. I think Jesus kind of says to her, I'm hope. I am, maybe he points to there's a verse in the Old Testament that says hope deferred makes the heart sick, and she's obviously had 4 guys in her life and she's on the 5th one. And you got to think that whether it was that she's a sinner and she's this prostitute and these are 5 guys that she's just been with, or whether she's the benefactor of unfortunate situations with untimely deaths and disease and war, and she's, like we said earlier, with a guy who, is just trying not to break the rules but's in love. 5 times. Imagine a mom with 5 miscarriages and she gets pregnant again, or she wants to. Imagine a family who loses 4 or 5 boys in a war, and the youngest now wants to go. That's hope deferred. It makes the heart sick, as Proverbs says. And so I think she's heart sick. She's heart sick, and every time she's got her hopes up, maybe this is the one. Maybe this one will last. You have to, and it hadn't. I think she is clearly educated in the religious terms of the day, but Jesus would speak to her later and say, you worship what you don't know. It's ritual. I'm looking for spirit and truth. I'm looking for heart. I'm looking for connection beyond the mind and the rituals that the world around you says you have to do this and you have to do that. I mean, she was obviously at the well that day, either A, because she didn't want to be around people because she thought no one understood, or B, because she didn't want to be around people because they would have thought she's a sinner and unclean. Either way, she is on the receiving end of judgment that comes either from ritual or a lack of grace. And so I think Jesus comes to her altogether different. And I think living water for her is God accepts you. God, later on he would tell her, if you knew who you were talking to. And she says, oh, the Messiah's coming. He's like, oh, I'm him. Like, I think for her living water is God is not elusive. God is present. God chooses to go through Samaria and not around Samaria, because that was what they did. That was the picture these people had of the Jewish God. He goes around Samaria, and Jesus goes into Samaria.